Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the Colts Brawl podcast. I'm your host, Michael Terrazas, and today we are bringing on a new friend of ours to the show. He is a writer for our Colts Brawl. He was on an episode of the Underdog Sports podcast that I had. If you are familiar with that show, hopefully you remember him, Anthony Gulick. I hope I'm saying your last name right. How you
Yep, you're
doing, man?
good. Doing good, man. How about you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just ready for some to start hearing about some Colts football. Excited that training camp is starting. There's some news coming out with the whole COVID-19 stuff and everything. This testing protocol. Lots of stuff to get into today, man. Um, so just to starting out with these preseason games. There's going to be no preseason games. The NFL came out and already said that there will be no preseason games. Ideally, when you're looking at roster bubble guys, when you're looking at, undrafted free agents who are trying to fight for not a playoff spot, a position on this team, unfortunately, there's going to be no live reps. It's one thing to do some good things in practice, but when you get on the field, live competition against someone that, you haven't played against, as someone in a different jersey as you, it's definitely a big plus in the coach's eyes, but that will not be happening this year. And even worse is that they have to cut this roster down to 80 players. So, Anthony, I want to hear your thoughts on this whole this whole pandemic that is regarding, when it comes to our roster. What are the pros and what are the cons of having no preseason games?
First off, I think it's a big con. Talking about like guys who are on the bubble, like Reese Fountain, and like undrafted free agents. Like we just brought in this kid Kendall Coleman, pass rusher from Syracuse. I like him a lot. We also brought in Rodrigo Blankenship, kicker from Georgia. So for the undrafted free agents and bubble guys, you could even say Taekwon Lewis, put him in there. For the bubble guys, it definitely hurts a lot, And even though the starters don't play a lot, like it's gonna be like in preseason usually, like it's gonna be like an adjustment period. Like week one at Jacksonville, the first time we're gonna see Phillip Rivers. We wouldn't like even if there was a preseason, like we'd only see him like say for like say like a few half like say like in the first few games he only play in like maybe like the first half, but like it's still better than nothing. I do think it is a con, not being able to not being able to have the preseason just for like those guys on the bubble and just for like the starters to get a few reps in. But some of the pros are, like there's less of a chance of players to get hurt, like the established ones. And we're just getting like straight into football, so that's something to get excited about.
Yeah, and with the injuries, I look at that as one of the pros to it. Obviously, last year was a horrible year injury wise for the Colts, and being able to try and stay healthy, which I think is a big plus. Not playing any live reps, live games. It's a big plus for the established guys, like you said. Now, if there was a preseason, we would not see Phillip Rivers. He just doesn't play preseason games anymore. There's no need to. He's been in this league for a long time. There's no need to see him in the preseason. T.Y. Hilton, he probably wouldn't even play. Anthony Costanzo probably wouldn't play. If I'm being honest, I don't even think we'll see DeForest Buckner. He's the biggest acquisition we've brought in. We don't need to risk injury with him. Have him practice, have him go all out, but keep him out of the preseason games. Get him ready for the season. But since we're not having those, in my opinion, I think, and this is something I probably plan on asking Frank Reich on Wednesday, is are they going to have scrimmages in place? Probably not on a Saturday or anything, but instead of having these live games, you definitely want to see what you have in your roster when it comes to your depth and your bubble guys. And even you mentioned Rodrigo Blankenship. I mean, I don't expect him to be one of the guys that get cut for it to be down to 80. because he's in a kicker competition with him and Chase McLaughlin. I don't think you cut any of them. You got to figure out who is the best guy to help you win games is. You got to figure that one out. Kendall Coleman, as you mentioned, I I don't know if he'll make the cut. I think he has a good chance. I think he has a good guy vouching for him in Robert Mathis. And when it comes to other guys, I think it kind of hurts. It hurts their stock because those preseason games do mean a lot. I mean, that's how Zach Pascal was able to be big time. Deion Kane, I mean, he did some good things in the preseason. He ended up making the roster, but didn't really do much else after that. Darius Fountain, he showed some big things in preseason games, but unfortunately had that injury. Guys like, say, I guess you could put in the wide receiver room, Marcus Johnson, DeMichael Harris, Desmond Patman, those guys trying to battle for those later spots on the roster. That's what it's going to impact. So for the Colts, I do envision them having scrimmages to see, what they got. In all, I think no preseason games is the right call. Obviously, you want to limit the chance of exposure, injuries, all that. But the number one thing is the health of the players and this COVID-19 stuff. So that is that right there with these new developments going on in the league. The next one is I want to get into a little bit of contract talk with you, Anthony. Coming in, you know, Chris Ballard has done a really good job with these books in Indianapolis. He's done a really good job of it. He's made smart decisions with the money. Going forward for the next couple of years, there's going to be some big headlines when it comes to these contracts because I mean, I'm just naming off just a few names that are in contract years right now. Philip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Marcus Johnson, Mo Alley Cox, Trey Burton, Ryan Kelly, LaRaven Clark, Grover Stewart, Sheldon Day, Danico Autry, Justin Houston, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Anthony Walker, Xavier Rhodes, TJ Carey, Malik Hooker. Now, the most notable guys in my mind, Malik Hooker, Anthony Walker, uh, Ryan Kelly, T.Y. Hilton. I fully expect Hilton, Kelly, and Pascal to get re-signed 100%. And when you look at these other depth positions, I mean, you got your entire nose tackle depth, Grover Stewart and Sheldon Day in contract years. Sheldon Day, that 1 year prove-it deal with the Colts, Grover Stewart at the end of his rookie deal. And then Danico Autry, who can play inside and out, he is in a contract year as well. So it looks like early on you got to secure some depth for the future. Al-Qadim Muhammad, Justin Houston at the defensive end spot. Anthony Walker, I don't know if he gets retained because I know the Colts love Bobby Okereke, and I think Anthony Walker should be a heavily chased free agent next year. Xavier Rhodes, TJ Carey, just looking at all these things, Anthony, who in your mind are the best bets to possibly walk away from early on? And I know this is very early to be talking about this, but looking ahead right now, who are the immediate guys that you are re-signing, that you have no shadow of a doubt you are re-signing?
Personally, I'd probably go with Hilton and Kelly as my guys that are going to resign. For free agents that probably won't be with the Colts next year, I'll probably go with Marlon Mack and Malik Hooker. Um, Based on what the rookies do this year, that's basically my opinion on like if they're gonna come back or not. If Jonathan Taylor has a standout year, Marlon Mack really hasn't been healthy. Like I mean, he's been healthy, but he's missed games like throughout his career. And if Jonathan Taylor stays healthy and does a great job, I could totally see him as being our number one running back, and Chris Ballard not wanting to re-sign Marlon Mack. And same goes for Hooker. Hooker's been a really good player too, but he just hasn't been healthy. And we did draft Julian Blackman, and if Blackman stays healthy throughout the season, I know he's not gonna play at first, but if he comes in and does a great job, and I think that Ballard won't re-sign Hooker, as sad as that is, because I'm a big Malik Hooker fan. But guys like Anthony Walker and Grover Stewart, I really would like Chris Ballard to sign those guys because I think those guys are getting better every year. I know that Ballard likes Okereke a lot, but Darius Leonard really loves Anthony Walker, and he's even vouched. I've seen on Twitter before that he wants Anthony Walker re-signed. You know, like a lot of Colts fans really do like Anthony Walker, and I'm a big fan of Grover Stewart too. You know, so and a lot of these guys, you know, are on 1 year prove deals like TJ Carey and Xavier Rhodes and Sheldon Day, you know. But at least our secondary is gonna be like this for 1 year. You know, Xavier Rhodes he could if he returns to his, well, not, I wouldn't say all pro form because he's not gonna get back to that, but if he comes back to say like a Pro Bowl form, I know he made the Pro Bowl last year, but it was a down year for him. So if he returns back to like his regular standard of play, then I could see Ballard re-signing him. And same thing with TJ Carey. You know, like last year, like slot corner besides Kenny Moore, like we didn't really have any depth there. So he's a guy that can come in if Kenny Moore gets hurt again. If he plays well, I could definitely see Chris Ballard re-signing him. But you know, a lot of these guys, it just matters if they stay healthy or not. Like if Malik Hooker gets hurt, same thing with Mac this year. I could definitely see them like out the door next year.
Yeah, man. When I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the depth. Like two noticeable units right here: the wide receiver group and the defensive line group. Right now, T.Y. Hilton, Zach Packle, Marcus Johnson. Let's just say T.Y. Hilton ends the season without an extension. Let's just say that, okay? And these three guys enter into free agency. Now you have Desmond Patman, Paris Campbell, and Michael Pittman. That's all you have right there. T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Marcus Johnson, they enter free agency. You never know who might throw more money at Zach Pascal. Let's say the Jets gonna throw more money at Zach Pascal than Chris Ballard is willing to give. So Zach Pascal walks. T.Y. Hilton, I think he's a Colt for life. He comes back. Marcus Johnson, I think he's a pretty important depth player. But what if he goes somewhere else where he has more playing time? Now, obviously, some of this stuff can be corrected in the draft and free agency, but that veteran leadership, that experience that they could possibly miss, that's what I'm thinking of when I look at that unit. Now, the defensive line, I mean, Grover Stewart, Sheldon Day, Danico Autry, Justin Houston, Al-Qadim Muhammad. That is five guys out of a nine-man rotation that I see being in 2024, the Indianapolis Colts. Let's say all five of them, let's just say they don't return hypothetically. Under contract, you have Ben Banogu, Kamoko Toure, Taekwon Lewis, and DeForest Buckner. All pretty young studs, but we don't know outside of Buckner. We don't know what they are yet. I think these are some, you know, got to be cautious of these question marks on this roster. And in my mind, 2020, we need to find out what this defensive line is. I see Grover Stewart coming back. I even see Sheldon Day coming back. But when it comes to, Al-Qadim Muhammad, I think he's a pretty serviceable backup as a defensive end. We have to figure out what Kamoko Toure, Banogu, and Lewis are. We have to figure it out because that position is going to be in need of talent next year. We have to find an answer. I don't see Justin Houston coming back, so we have to find an answer. Kamoko Toure and Ben Banogu are the two main guys that I'm looking at. They have to perform this year. I think it is very pivotal for the Colts' future Super Bowl chances. You got to have a pass rush. You can't just have DeForest Buckner being the lead man. I mean, I know people want to say, well, Aaron Donald is the lead man. I mean, Dante Fowler, he's a good pass rusher. He helps take some attention off Aaron Donald, but we can't have offensive coordinators just putting everything on DeForest Buckner and there's no one helping him out. We have to figure it out. When it comes to the secondary, I could see Chris Ballard reaching into next year's draft because I actually like a few guys there when it comes to the corner spot. But I'll bank on the development of Marvell Tell. I think he has some really good um, intangibles. I think he has some really good techniques that he can definitely build on in 2020. So right now, the contract situation is definitely something to monitor throughout the season and heading into next offseason. I just want to give you guys like a quick early preview of possible questions to come. So moving on, Anthony. And this is probably going to be a short episode for you guys. Just letting you know. You mentioned him earlier, Julian Blackman. Now the Colts did put him on the reserve NFL list, and this means that he is not practicing. He is not doing anything with the team. He is still rehabbing from that ACL tear. But this is different from PUP, physically unable to perform. When you get placed on that, you will automatically miss the first 8 games of the season. But with this, he's still young. And from what I'm hearing, he's on a pretty good fast track to return. So here is this, 21 days into training camp, you're not practicing. It's just strength and conditioning, classroom work, virtual meetings, all that stuff. I mean, you don't really need him for that. You want him to get healthy. And at this time, any moment the Colts feel like he will be able to come back, they can take him off. Me personally, I'm gonna say he's ready. I'm gonna say he's ready by the beginning of the season. Now, will he be ready to go once the strength and conditioning period is done? I don't think so. But I think they will ease him in, and I think he will make the roster. Now, people out there say that he can play in early September, but he probably wouldn't help us until October because obviously you still got to get that ACL and that knee used to playing full speed, live reps, the certain cuts, the certain hip flips, all that stuff that the ACL is so important in doing. It's gotta, it's gotta heal in time. Anthony, where are you at with Julian Blackman? Because I've even after we've drafted him, I've dug more into his college film, into who he is as a person, and I don't want to be that guy that looks at every draft pick and says I see a star. But with Julian Blackman, I see some real good uh intangibles as a safety. And Chris Ballard said it. Julian Blackman is a natural free safety. So I want to get your thoughts on Julian Blackman because obviously that's going to be a position to watch this season as he battles with Malik Hooker. Is Malik Hooker going to play well, going to get re-signed, or is Julian Blackman going to take that spot? So Anthony, what do you see 2020 being for Julian Blackman? And when it comes to his recovery, do you think he starts the year on pup or is he ready to go by the start of the season?
Personally, with me, I think that he'll be good to go like at the start of the season in early September. But yeah, he probably won't like get under his feet until like October. But I have some big expectations, for Julian Blackman. Like if you look at his film, he just pops off the tape. You know what I mean? He hits really hard. Like I remember like watching this film on draft night. First play they showed, like he just came in and just like decked this one dude that was playing for Oregon, I think it was. But I see him as like a player like Ty Matthew, honestly, like for the Kansas City Chiefs, because like he's a former corner that switched to safety during his college career, and like say if somebody gets hurt, like you could even like move Blackman around to different positions, and he could do well, like blitzing the quarterback or putting him in the slot or putting him outside. So honestly, I'm a really big fan of Julian Blackman, and come around October, towards the end of the year, hopefully when we're making the big playoff push, I think that Julian Blackman is going to be a big contributor.
Yeah, I like that analysis, Anthony. I look at Blackman and the range, the vision he has from sideline to sideline. again, though, those instincts, that speed, it probably won't come back until probably October. And then, it could be ready at the start of the season. But I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to guarantee that because I don't know the man's knee. I'm not in there with him in rehab. I don't know how he's reacting to the rehab work. But with Julian Blackman, I along the lines with you, Anthony, that I'm expecting some good things from Julian Blackman. I am a fan of Malik Hooker too. I definitely don't want to see him go as a Colt. Now, we don't know what 2020 has to offer, but I've said it before. I would not be surprised if Malik Hooker was traded in mid-season because of the possibility Julian Blackman being ready to go by the season start, and he's just playing so much better than Malik Hooker. He's just playing so much better. And teams start saying, "Hey, you got that rookie. What about Malik Hooker?" Get into some, asset talks, and then boom, he's traded. I am listing him as a possible trade candidate. I know some people might not agree with that because of how uncertain they are about Julian Blackman. But some of these things have happened in the NFL before, and I think it's possible for it to happen this year with Julian Blackman. I just said it earlier. He's a natural free safety. I mean, I'm surprised if it wasn't for that ACL tear, man. I honestly think he would have been an early second round pick because there is just I don't see how he wasn't heavily focused on in the draft. I mean, when I looked at the secondary when it came to this past year's draft, I mean, I saw all kinds of guys, but Julian Blackman was not one of them. And me, honestly, when it came to the ACL, I said he would probably be a fourth or fifth round pick. But the Colts, they loved him all the way in the draft process. They valued him in the third round, and they had those questions about, oh well, will he be there in the fourth round? And Chris Ballard could not risk losing Julian Blackman. That's how much he loves Julian Blackman. And remember, Chris Ballard, he I think it's a done deal. He is the best general manager in the league. He's the best. He's been named the best talent evaluator, the most trustworthy GM. He takes care of his guys, and he knows how to find the right guys. And I wanna talk about another safety player, Kari Willis. Kari Willis is a guy who exploded onto the scene really very early. Even in the Chargers game, he was making some good hits. He was really rangy in the first game against the Chargers. And then people really started to take notice against Tennessee the following week in week 2. Anthony, the possibility of a Malik Hooker and Kari Willis or a Julian Blackman and Kari Willis. Where are you at with this safety tandem? Possible, matchups, possible, teammates. We don't know what's going to happen with Malik Hooker. But do you think Kari Willis is a big game changer in the secondary?
I do, yeah. Just looking back at that game at Kansas City, Corey Willis was a big part of that game. You know, he was making a lot of big tackles, and he just has a big impact on the game. And with Hooker's injury history, like I said before, I could totally see Ballard wanting to stick with Blackman and Willis as our safety duo for the future. You know, both are really young guys, and they're both just like young ascending players. And I'm really excited. Next year is it's gonna be a big year for Hooker to prove himself. But if we don't bring him back, I'm gonna be really excited for this tandem with Blackman and Willis because I think I'm a big fan of Corey Willis. I was a big fan of Willis last year, and I'm just excited to see what he can do, like working with Julian Blackman.
Definitely, man. And I will say the secondary is kind of a concern for me going in because there are question marks. But nonetheless, Chris Ballard is adding talent. He's adding some stars to this team. And we just got to wait and see how, from week to week, month to month, year to year, how these guys pan out in Chris Ballard's tenure. So, if I don't have anything else, Anthony, do you have anything else to add?
Nah, man, I'm just ready for some Colts football, man. I'm really excited for the season to start. So, yep.
All right. Well, guys, he is Anthony Golick. I am Michael Terrazas. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of the Underdog Sports Podcast. Y'all stay blessed, y'all stay safe, and hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next week.